Have you ever wondered why we seek out validation so much? What is it about being seen, heard, and understood by someone else that just makes us feel whole? Why is it that society is telling us that we're nobodies unless we're with someone else? I think this is the reason why we're constantly seeking out validation through things like Instagram and TikTok. We want to confirm that we belong in this world. And philosopher Jean-Paul Sartre, he actually thought about this. He wondered why is it that we constantly seek out validation. So he calls this concept the look, where if someone's looking at us, they're placing their judgments and expectations on us. We realize that we're just an object in their world and we're not the main character in ours. And we lose our sense of identity because of that. So we're constantly seeking out things to validate us, to actually confirm our own existence. Validation can only momentarily satisfy us. It can never truly fulfill us. What we need isn't validation. What we need is authentic love. And in Greek, there are 4 different types of loves that helps us understand the different types of connections that we have. Eros, Philia, Storge, and Agape. Each of these capture a unique way of connecting with other people. So in this video, I want to help you explore these different types of loves and focus on them, rather than seeking out constant validation, because these loves can help you lead to a more fulfilling life. So the first type of love I want to talk about is called Eros. This is where we get the word erotic, and this is the type of love that's passionate and romantic, and all the songs and movies are talking about. So there's this myth of soulmates, and it came from Plato. In his writing The Symposium, he talks about how human beings began. We were originally 2-headed, 4-armed, 4-legged creatures that existed, and the Greek gods got mad at us, specifically Zeus. So he cut the human beings in half so that they can long for each other to become whole again. And this myth is prevalent in our day and age of, like Jerry Maguire, oh, you complete me. But I think living in our modern day and age, we see that's just not true. That there is no one destined for us out there amongst 7 billion people to truly complete and satisfy us. I think we see that relationships take work and take communication. Like in modern times, dating is such a unique concept. It's a social construct created in the 1800s where we have to woo one another. Most of the time throughout human history, we just chose someone to stick with. But nowadays, we have so many options out there, we have to figure out which one to pick. So Logan Ury, she wrote this book, How Not to Die Alone. And in that book, it uses an evidence-based methodology to help you find that person to spend your time with. So in the book, she mentions there are 3 types of daters. There is the optimizer, who searches for the best option out there. There is the romanticizer, who is waiting for the best love to come to them. And then there is the hesitator, who does nothing at all because they've been so dejected by modern romance. And she says this evidence-based methodology is focusing on values, finding someone who shares compatibility with you. Most people out there are looking for a prom king or a prom queen, someone to look good with and take photos with on social media to share with all their friends. However, if you want to find true love, it's about compatibility, and you want to focus on your values so that you can have a good life together. With these shared values, you get to build a foundation where you get to grow alongside each other for the long term. And I've seen this in so many couples in my lives where they are so aligned on where they're heading in life that they not only grow with each other, but help grow the communities around them. It's this flourishing type of love that this romance gets to have. And in terms of flourishing too, you get to create a family with another. And it really is a beautiful thing. And I know for me, I'm still struggling in this dating market. I've been single all of my life, and it's been a mix of rejections and hesitation. Yet, I enjoy my singleness. I know I'm going to spend about 1/3 of my life being single and the rest of my life being married, which is such a longer time. I'm only 27. I got like 54 years left in me, and I'm hoping 40 of them I get to spend married. So in the meantime, it's not a season of waiting. I like to call it a season of becoming. I get so much time to focus on myself because I don't have to invest it in a relationship. I get to focus on me. I get to focus on my church, and I hopefully get to become the person that attracts my future wife. I'm focusing on my health, wealth, and relationships, and just through all of that, I hope my future wife out there is going to be so attracted to me, she wants to join me on my journey. And I hope I'm attracted to her too, and that she's spending her time a season of singleness investing in her. So if you're feeling dejected from the dating world and being rejected, I encourage you to see this as a season of becoming, to focus on yourself so that you can attract your future mate later. Or even if you never end up with a mate, if you stay single all your life, you get so much time to invest in yourself. There is this perspective that singleness is a curse, but I like to see singleness this as a gift, that it really is meant for us to have all this time for ourselves, that we don't have to invest it in someone else. We get to focus either on us or someone else, or like the community, someone else. The next type of love I want to talk about is called Philia, and it's like the root word for Philadelphia, brotherly love or sisterly love. It's these deep friendships that are formed with key life transitions. You've gone through stuff together, like puberty, graduation, or having kids. And research published in developmental psychology backs this up, that these long-term friendships tend to be so much more meaningful and they last longer over time. They've shown that these long-term friendships have more emotional stability. Because you've seen each other grow so long, you know the ups and downs of a relationship. They're more resilient because you've gone through conflict together, you know how to resolve them. And you know what each other are like through the day in and day out. And for me, I'm so blessed that I still keep in touch with my friends from high school. It's crazy. We have a group chat that we talk to every single day, and we always share memes or whatever's on our mind. We never stop talking. And I love it because these guys are my emotional support. These are the guys I go to when stuff goes down. And the last time I hung out with them in person was Labor Day. We all decided to go on a boys excursion, which is hopping in a car, choosing somewhere random in the Bay Area, and taking a small road trip there. So we chose Garrapatta State Beach Park, and it was a secluded beach away from everything else off of Highway 1, and it was perfect. We set up a small picnic blanket, tent, had some food from Trader Joe's, threw around a football, and it was such a great bonding moment. And it's these small little memories that I'm always going to share with these guys as I grow older and older. We're going to be old one day, and we're going to tell each other, hey, remember that one time where we had burritos on the beach? Yeah, those are great. And if you don't have those deep friendships like that, I encourage you to find some and develop them. I encourage you to initiate and develop them. Be the first person to ask someone, hey, do you want to grab lunch together? How are you really feeling? And go deeper into the mud, and hopefully through time that these relationships will become strong and resilient relationships. The next type of love I want to talk about is called Storge. This is the type of love that families experience. The love between a parent and a child, and the love between siblings. It's such a strong and supportive type of love. It's the type of love that creates a sanctuary. It's kind of cheesy, but it's the love that makes this house feel like a home. Instead of living with roommates, because when I lived in San Diego, it was like, they were my friends, but there was just something different about being in a house with other people that you love and know, like my family. So in his book, Fighting for the Family by Jefferson Bethke, he argues that American society is slowly destroying the nuclear family. Like, we see it where these white American families, Bethke included, are sending their parents off to retirement homes and slowly watching them die. And it's kind of ridiculous. It's like as if the father said, hey, I have this business ready and I want to give it to you when you grow up. And the son's like, well, I want to go and start my own business. So it's strange. Like, I was actually in that mindset too. When I was 22, getting out of college, I wanted to start my own way. I wanted to go to a big city, find a good career, have a good wife, and come back to them and show them that I made it big. And it didn't work out like that. When the pandemic hit, I actually moved back home because I wanted to be closer with them. I realized that my parents were getting older and my siblings were becoming adults. So everyone was getting older. My parents were about to retire. I wanted to be with them throughout all their key life transitions. And I'm so glad that I did, because I got to support them. I'm the third adult in the house and I can be like that. I don't have to be the second mom or dad. I get to be the other person that supports everyone up. And it's such an amazing feeling. And I remember growing up too that my grandma lived with us. We lived in a multi-generational household, and I realized that we needed each other to survive. My dad would go off to work and my grandma would take care of us, and it was so great hanging out with my grandma. And we just don't have that in American society anymore. And I know that when I become older and rich, I want my mom and hopefully my future mother-in-law, father-in-law to live with us. And because we all need each other to survive financially, emotionally, and spiritually. And I understand that not every family unit is like that out there. Some of us come from broken families. And I encourage you to reach out to the people you lost in touch with, whether it's siblings you haven't talked to in a while or estranged parents, to try to reach out to them and restore this relationship, because I think there's a hole in your heart that needs to be filled by them. And sometimes it doesn't work out that way. Sometimes you just have to start your own family. I know for LeBron James, I'm using him as an exception, but his story's still cool. He grew up in a family without a father. He became became the best basketball player to ever live and created a life for his son so that they can have this emotional support that he never had. And now Bronny gets to live his dreams of living in the NBA too. Obviously, not all of us are LeBron James, but we can start somewhere. If you never had this experience back home when you grew up as a child, I'm hoping that you can give this same experience for your future child too. And then the last type of love I want to talk about is agape love. It's the highest and purest form of love where it's sacrificial. You expect nothing in return for agape love. Most of the loves I've talked about previously are quite conditional, like Eros, for example. It's the love between a man and a woman, and if they are not attracted to each other, then there is no relationship. So the closest thing that agape love is adoption. So when two parents pick out a child, this child cannot give them anything back, whether it's money, love, or whatever. There's nothing this child can do to ever repay them. Yet this family chooses to love this child anyway because they know this child needs that love. And in Christian theology, agape love is similar to that. It's the same love that God shows for us, that when we've messed up so bad that God sent his only son to die on a cross for us to pay the debt of sin, which was the price of death, so that we can have eternal life with him and be adopted into his family. So the Bible captures this love in 1 John 4:9-10. This is how God showed his love among us. He sent his only son into the world that we might live through him. This is love. Not that we love God, but he loved us and sent his son as an atoning sacrifice for our sins. And agape love challenges us to love others in the same way, whether it's people out on the streets, and I'm specifically thinking of the homeless people. I know for me, I try to give them whatever cash I have on hand or whatever food I have that's available to just show them kindness, that there is something good in this world. And there is a type of love of loving our neighbors as well. And I live in the suburbs, so I'm thinking of the people next door to me. I'm so glad I've gotten to know their names and what their hobbies are and show that I'm a human being. There is this form of connection that I'm missing with not knowing my next door neighbors. And so I've been intentional about hanging out with them. And this is what agape love is. It's loving so much that you don't expect anything back in return. And the first time that I experienced this love for myself was when I was 16. So growing up, I was quite disconnected from the world. I'd always play video games because I saw it as a way of connecting with other people. I didn't want other people to see the real me. I felt so comfortable and confident behind a screen, I could be anything I wanted. However, God knew the real me. And it was during Sunday school at church that when I was listening to my Sunday school teacher preach on Romans 3, it talked about how no one was righteous. If there were a morality scale between good, neutral, and evil, there would be no morally neutral. There's only God who is good and the rest of humanity that is evil. But it's because God sent his son Jesus down to die for our sins that we get adopted to his family towards being good again. And that just blew my mind. Like a light bulb switch went off in my head, realizing how empty and sad my life was. There was this God-filled hole in my heart that I needed. And that was when I first experienced his love, that he knew me as this sad little kid and decided to love me anyway. And the same can happen for you too, that this love is available for you no matter what you're going through or what you're experiencing. I believe that there's a God-shaped hole in your heart too, that God sees you where you are now and still loves you, that he died for you so that you can be in his family too. And if this is something that you're struggling with, that you're constantly seeking validation out for other things, I encourage you to look in the Bible, to Google something, to go on my channel and find this video called How to Read the Bible to start. I think this is the way where you can experience true love instead of constantly seeking validation out from other things or other people. What we need isn't validation, but authentic love, which comes in many forms. It can be romantic love, through deep friendships, through family, and through God. Each of these provides such a richer experience of life, and I encourage you to develop them. And if you're not able to get all four, I think it's okay, because I know for me, I only have 3 out of the 4. I don't have a romantic partner yet, but I feel so fulfilled in life because I have deep friendships, I have a great family, and my relationship with God is so awesome. So if you ever feel like you need guidance or someone to talk to, you can click on the link down below to schedule a free 30-minute call with me, and we can talk about how I can best help you with your need for validation and how to find fulfillment. So thank you so much for listening. I'll catch you in the next one.